Hi guys, it's been a good end to October. I've traded less, I've kept my discipline, and I've closed the month green. So 7 months day trading, learning to day trade. I've grown my account from about $300 to $420, which is the most that it's been at the end of this month. And I think that goes to show that cutting out all the setups that I'm not good at over the last 2 weeks has shown me how my account can then grow much quicker. So it's not really about the money at this stage. It's just been about learning and getting a system and a process in place that I know works. So I will be sizing up next month, which is quite exciting. And this month I took 2 good trades. One of them was for a 20% gain, and I'm going to go into that trade. So the ticker was SCNX, and this is the daily chart over here. And you can see it's had a big day one move on this day, which is Thursday, the 23rd of October. And this is the volume. It's gapped up on high volume. It's done 800 million volume on its day one, which is significant. And it's gone from around 57 cents up to highs of around 260. So it closed the day up around 354%. So decent runner. And one to keep watch of if it pulls back, and I'm looking to play it for a bounce. So let's go into the intraday chart on the 5 minute. So this is its day one, and then can see it retraces on day 2 and has a pretty significant bounce within day 2. So that's something to keep watch of. Pulls back again, another decent bounce. So normally I don't like it when it does these bounces in between, because it kind of reduces the possibility for bigger bounce when it's already doing bounces in between. So that's something to keep an eye on. And then it also has another, it's about a 20% bounce on this day here, which is it's had a red day here on the daily chart, another red day, and then on day 4 it wants to do another bounce for 20%. So if I just zoom in there, I think I did actually trade it on that day. I didn't trade it very well though. So that's a 20% bounce there. So for me, it kind of went off my radar after this, and the other bounces that it's been doing in between that. And yeah, kind of thought potentially that move is done. Still kept it on my watch list. Went back to it a few days later. Can just see, probably see it a bit clearer on the 30-minute time frame, that it's now in this downward trend. It's not exact, but it's pretty clear that that's in a downward trend. So I was just watching it in case it might base and then break that trend and then have a proper bounce day. So the day before I traded this one, I traded WGRX, which was a really similar setup in terms of it came from the same price range of this stock. It had very similar volume on day 1 and a big retracement like this stock as well before it bounced. So this WGRX bounced significantly the day before this one. So that just adds to the possibility that this one might behave in a similar way. So looking at it on, let's go to the 5 minute, on the day I played it for a bounce. It wasn't really my plan first thing in the morning. It was just something that I kind of started to look at, just sort of during pre-market. So you can see it's kind of based after hours. It wants to hold above the previous day's low, and then pre-market is holding that area. And this is kind of the first time really that it's showing a base once it's doing this downward trend. And so that got my interest. And also the fact that it was edging closer to this downward trend line on the 30-minute time frame. So another thing to point out as well is because it had this 20% bounce here, and that was off $1 as well. To get my interest again, that would need to retrace a lot more to be able to have another bounce if it was going to do another bounce. So it did do that. It pulled back, quite a bit more from $1. And now that it's at this range here of around 75 cents, this now has the range to bounce back up to $1. So there was quite a few things to think about on this trade. And also, since this was such a big runner, I felt that it had a bigger bounce to come than this. This was a pretty quick movement, only 20%. For the amount that it moved on day one, I felt like it should have a stronger bounce than that. So yeah, because of the significant retracement off this area, a nice base here, the fact that WGRX had bounced the day before, and that it's moving out of this trend line now, that's setting up to be a really nice trade. So how I traded this, I didn't actually wait for it to break trend. I waited till market open, and I just saw the first few candles where sometimes you can get a lot of volatility straight out the gate, and it can rip down or rip up. But because it was just holding above this level, I thought I can get a really nice entry. I can risk off this area here, so if it breaks this price, then I will cut the trade. So there really wasn't much to lose on this one. So yeah, I entered the trade around here. I got in at 0.7625, around about there, and then can see very quickly afterwards it starts to move upwards. And if we go to the 30-minute time frame as well, you can see it's now breaking out of that trend line. So back to the 1 minute. Really nice, comfortable trade actually, this one. My best sell was 102, and then I managed to take a 20% gain overall. So almost went to my final PT, but I didn't really hang about for that, and then it just came back down. So yeah, that's the first green day bounce setup, although it kind of already had bounces in between that, so it's not the cleanest one, but still offered a really good setup as well. So SCNX, first green day bounce. So now that I've got my setups and my discipline in place, I'm going to be upping my $300 account that I initially put in up to $2,000, which I'll start trading with from November onwards. So pretty excited about this, a little bit nervous, but also very cool to look back at where I started about a year ago, where I was just watching videos learning to day trade, then paper trading, then trading 7 months with a $300 account, and now being able to size up a little bit. So it's going to be interesting trading with a larger amount of money. I'm going to have to get comfortable with taking bigger losses and hopefully, of course, bigger gains. But I don't know how the psychology might shift. I might get more sort of fear of losing. I don't know. So I'm just going to have to see how it goes, and it's all part of the process and the next step in my journey. So cheers for watching, and catch you next Sunday.